Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
So to start, I really like that this show not only kind of goes through all these different timelines, or you know what I'm talking about. There's different eras that this show gets to go through, but we get to see these actors also go into them. And so for you guys, what time or moment in the show was when you really understood who your character was?
I think for me, it was the 2007 time period.
Mm.
Because the first episode, we meet him as the adult he is now, and then the next scene is back in time at the beginning of his dad's hearing for the Supreme Court, and nothing told me who Tao was faster than after some paint gets splashed on him, and seeing him in the next getup and having his entire family look at him and laugh out loud or stifle laughter. Like I was like, oh, he's the younger sibling that like he
Mhm.
gets picked on. And that's what he grew up with, and that's his role. And he serves his role still to this day as an adult of being dutiful, respectful, doing what he's supposed to do. Yeah, the glasses, the bow tie, the polo shirts, all the things that like, oh yeah, I clearly see how this guy um, went through life, and
Mm.
it helped tailor my performance.
Yeah, I think for me, without treading very carefully in like spoiler territory, I think the moment I realized it was in one of the flashbacks where Kimmer had a very specific thing that she needed to work out for her at the same time that Tao was dealing with something with his family. And she was so like hyper focused on this thing that she didn't realize that her husband was needing her in this moment until he was like, listen to me. But the thing I loved about that moment was that she did, and it
Mhm.
showed that like she does care. It's just sometimes she just gets like really hyper focused on things that she's going after.
Yeah, and I've been saying this all day, but because it's true. I didn't need to know a single thing about this show. The minute I saw Forrest Whitaker's name, I was like, great, I'm watching it. I don't need to know a single other thing. But how is it for you guys, not only acting opposite someone like Forrest Whitaker, but being on a set that is quote unquote his because he is the lead of this show and dealing with leader Forrest Whitaker versus actor Forrest Whitaker?
I think it's one and the same.
Yeah.
Like his presence was what led us in terms of how he was on set, not only like in front of the camera, but behind the camera in terms of just being the person that you're sitting next to and asking you how your day was. And you're like,
Mhm.
what's Whitaker just asked me how my day was. It was great. It's fantastic. And then when you get on camera with him and his heart just shines through, we could be in the scene where like father and son are not seeing eye to eye. But I know when the camera says cut, he's gonna be like, what do you think about that? I'm like, what you asking me what I thought about? I thought it was great. What do you think about it? Now here we are as peers talking, like, this is insane. So I think having Forrest there, it was a blessing, a real gift.
Yeah, I had a similar experience in one of the scenes that I shot with Forrest where we enter a room together. And I'm just like, okay, this is my scene with Forrest. Like, here we go, right? And he stops and he turns to me and he's like, do you think I should enter first or you enter first? And I was like, wait, you're asking me? I had like that same moment. I'm like, you're asking me? I mean, well, I think he's kind of a gentleman, so he would let me in first. He's like, you're right. And I was like, he just said I'm right. Great.
I love it. And also, what I love that it's a bunch of different genres, but more than that, I also love that it's an adaptation, but you guys have made it your own. How does it being an adaptation affect you guys? Is it you read the book and kind of see the differences, or are you focused on what Sherman wrote in that version of the story?
For me, it was a bit of both. Being able to read the book and see the story for strictly a story, like I'm just a person that's encompassed by this book, and I'm seeing it through Tal's eyes, and I'm hearing all his thoughts, and then being able to transfer that to the script and realizing that like, oh, this is an ensemble piece, and we're a family, and we're not so beholden to like the red herrings that the book throws out of us, and characters that like, okay, that guy was on one page and never gets shown again, like the story I think is so tight. Like the 10 episodes are so packed full of plot and family and drama and suspense and thriller. Like I think being able to do an adaptation serves us so much more than if we were to take the take the story, the novel verbatim.
Mm. And I think for my character, the book is written in first person, from Tal's perspective. So I read the book and I realized that nothing that is said about Kimmer in that book can really be relied upon to be objective, because as it's written from Talcott's perspective, everything that's said about her is flavored with his experience, his viewpoint on her in that moment, his thoughts on whatever memory he's describing. So outside of some of the factual tidbits that he gives, like, oh, she's from this place and she went to this school or things like that, I couldn't really use it at all as an actor preparing for this role, which was freeing because then I didn't feel that pressure of, oh, we're doing an adaptation. And I was able to just take the scripts as they came and prepare from what Sherman and Shukri and all of the other writers gave us.
You're like, I'm so happy for Grantham that he gets work, he gets stuff he can relate to, and everyone else is just like, this is how you've used me. I also, I wanted to ask you, Grantham, I love that both Damien and Sherman talked about this, so I feel like it's safe to talk about that there's a younger version of you in the show, and there's also a younger version of Forsyth's character. How did you get to work at all with the younger actor and kind of build out how Tao was back then versus how you saw Tao?
No, he did his thing. I mean, from the moment that we did the table reads and I got to meet him and I met his dad and we were just talking and I was like, yeah, no, this kid's got it. And then getting to see, I don't want to like spoiler or reveal who plays younger Forrest or that, but like it was also like cool, like, man, I get to be on a show with you too. Like this is cool. And I don't even get to have a scene with you because I'm too old. But I was like, I could play younger. No, it was really cool to see them take that episode and they are Tal and the judge, and we get to do it as the older people that we are.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think they both just said his first name. And so I was like, great, we're just going to continue on and I'm not going to say anything else. But for our last question, I have to ask because I love murder mysteries. So I instantly was like invested. But this show also has so many different layers to it because there's a family drama. There's like all of you're looking at these, it's a character study, all these things. For you guys, what are you the most excited to see as an audience member now that the show is completed? Like, what part of that genre appeals to you both?
I think for me, I'm just excited to see how it all comes together. As an actor, you don't often get to see the story as a whole, and often you only get to see the scenes that you are in. So I'm excited to just see the whole story play out. I'm excited to see how the audience each week, as each episode drops, um, pieces the mystery together, because as people who have read the book and or are working on the show and read the scripts, like we kind of know what's going to happen. So I'm really excited to see the audience experience it all for the first time and see what's working. Like, is this really a mystery, or are people going to be able to tell this twist or that turn? That's really exciting to me.
Yeah, same.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for everyone to get to see the show.
Sure. I like your nails, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You're a gestury person, and I keep seeing flashes of color. I'm like, oh, those are cool.
I'm Italian, so we do this all the time. We just talk with our hands, so it just happens.
Love
But
it.
thank you guys. Have a great one.